Well, I've seen Ukraine's NATO facility.
And we are live, back again, once again, another week with my good friend LarryCJohnson from Sonar 21, former CIA analyst, and true son of the new American Revolution. How are you doing, Larry?
I'm good. A week ago this time, we didn't know who was going to be president. Now we do.
Exactly. 1 week ago, we were talking about that. And I had a lot of comments in our last video saying that, yeah, you got this pretty much right.
Yeah, I thought Trump would win. He should have won. He did. Now it remains to be seen, is he going to crap on himself, or is he going to follow through on his promises? It's really it's up in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of his selections for his national security advisor and Secretary of State, of course, I've not seen him formally put it out that he's doing that. It's been reported in the media. So we've already seen the media claim things that Trump said or did that turned out to be lies.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think Marco Rubio as Secretary of State is it's a joke. You know, just a disaster.
So we are already talking about Marco Rubio. He had already discarded Nikki Haley and Mike
Pompeo,
which is a half of a good start, isn't it?
Well, I mean, both of them are on the record saying some of the most disgraceful thing about Trump. You know, they basically are suggesting you've had sexual relations with your mother, then you need to turn around and say, hey, I don't want anything to do with you. Stay away from me.
Yeah.
You know, Pompeo is he is a quintessential snake. He's like Pence. He's a deep state toad. And early on, you know, one of my biggest beefs was the Jack Smith case got launched. The special prosecutor, Trump, was alleged to have misused classified documents. You know, for starters, the foundation of the case was just bullshit. Trump is the ultimate authority for classifying and declassifying documents, and he declared that he had declassified these documents. Good enough. Oh no! Here's Pompeo. Well, I handle classified documents, and if these what's been reported is true, then Donald Trump is guilty. You know, he said stupid stuff like that. Instead of having a sense to come back and say, wait a second, there's a difference between, you know, a president hanging on to classified material because they can declassify. Mm-hmm. I can't. I don't have that power. Big difference. The dummy didn't even draw that difference. So that's why he right away disqualified himself. And at least Trump put the kibosh on him. Hey, you're not getting anywhere near my administration. But letting Mike Waltz in and Rubio, they're sort of Pompeo light.
So from what I am understanding from this, right now, it seems like, you know, establishment panic, just pushing whatever they can toward Trump. You know, I don't know, but that was the impression that I got when he basically cut off Nikki Haley and Pompeo, was that the establishment is pushing all these pieces on New York Times or whatever, Washington Post and all that, saying, oh yeah, he's pretty much going to get those guys. And then he said, no, hell no, wait a minute. But so far we have not heard any. I imagine it's a delicate time, of course. But so far, we have not heard anything substantial from the Trump side of things, not from media.
Well, yeah. So far, we've seen an official Trump announcement that, hey, I'm going to appoint Marco Rubio. Once that comes out, then okay, it's firm. I think, candidly, Rubio is a terrible choice for Secretary of State. The guy carries no gravitas. He's got no strategic vision, and his experience is so limited as a senator and formerly as a member of Florida legislature. He doesn't really have a great understanding of international relations, and he's got sort of a cartoon worldview of U.S. good, Russia bad, that kind of thing.
And he smells like deep state, isn't he? Well, I know.
Yeah, he could be masquerading, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what I have two questions about suggestions that I've seen floating around. Well, three actually suggestions that I've been seeing floating around. That would be the colonel, Doug McGregor, as Secretary of Defense, or any position close enough, at least, as a concierge for the administration, and the younger Ray McGovern. Is this somehow being talked about?
Ray's not even in discussion. Okay. Ray's too old. Too old. I know people like Ray. I like Ray. Too old. There's someone that talked about putting my name for it. I said no.
Hell no.
I lived in Washington D.C. for 40 years. Been there, done that. I got the T-shirt. I'm not going to I can avoid it.
I need a T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. I survived Washington incest, would it say on the T-shirt.
Went to Washington, and all that I got was this crappy T-shirt.
Yeah.
What about Doug? What about Mr. McGregor? Any talks, at least?
Yeah. I don't think they're inclined to select Doug. I think Trump. It is. He appears to be going away for a whole younger generation of personnel. Secondly, people. It looks like that he thinks he can control. That he can tell them what to do and they'll do it. All right, but again, there are other names out there floating. Bridge Colby was a DOD official under the first Trump administration. He's got a pedigree, Washington pedigree. His grandfather, William Colby, was the director of the CIA. He was Seymour Hersh's primary source on the stories about CIA assassination plots, the family jewels. I met his grandmother actually once. Tulsi Gabbard possibility. Someone we've not heard of. Again, as they say, policy is personnel. That means the people you select for jobs will end up determining what your policy is. If you follow that model, then putting Rubio and Waltz in the positions they are right away is that his policy is going to be off, significantly off from what it said he would do on the campaign trail. Trump has made a lot of promises, and people expect him to keep his promises. He's always said, I keep my promises. We'll see. I'm hopeful it does. Keep us out of war. Release the files on JFK. Release the files on January, the Russiagate plot, which he had promised to do and didn't. So he's promised to release the Epstein files as well. Release all of that. Let's expose the corruption. Let's expose the people that are involved.
Yeah, he put up a video, a very impactant video, saying more or less that let's expose the corruption, let's clean the house, all that. I mean, that sounds pretty good. Let's see if he's going to put up with it.
Well,
So
if he doesn't do it, he'll lose his support base.
that's my
George W. experienced the same thing. Read my lips. No new taxes. Then he raised taxes. People got pissed off, said, "You liar." You know, Trump can't screw around with this.
We had something similar with Dilma. She basically was reelected saying, yeah, we're not going to raise taxes, we're not going to raise prices. January 1st, price raises, taxes raises, and 2 years later, she's done. She's impeached.
Yeah,
that's and that is one important question for me, because as I said, I don't understand how it works, the election in the United States, but how was the victory, or I mean the relation between Trump and the Republicans and the Democrats? Because it looks like we are on the best case scenario that we have talked about last week. Trump won, Republicans got majority, all that. We talked about it last week. But how tied is it? How is the support for the government by the people and by the states? I saw a red wave on the map, but I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, so on the Senate side, Republicans are up by at least 3 seats, maybe 4. So they have a solid majority. They don't have a filibuster, 6 senators to get that. House of Representatives, they reportedly have at least 3 march, which raises questions. Why are they pulling Elise Stefanik and Michael Waltz out of the House of Representatives when they've won their seats? They're going back and they're going to take them out and put them in the executive branch. I mean, they're loyal people. They're been enthusiastic Trump supporters, but for the love of God, there's nothing exceptional about them that would say, "Oh, man, we need you so badly in the administration. We have to have you give up your seat in Congress." Please, they're average people on that regard. So, I don't know what they're thinking, but in 2016. The Republicans did control the House of Representatives, but they had this guy, Paul Ryan, in place as Speaker of the House. And he was a goddamn snake. Sabotaged Trump at every turn. So Trump will have to worry about this time. So, as I've written before, I think Trump's learned some lessons from his failure the first go-round. And if he didn't learn those lessons and put them into effect, and shame on him. You don't have to be Einstein to figure out that you're up against an opposition that requires you to be both terribly competent on your game and not create openings that the people can attack you over.
Yeah, we were talking about this some weeks ago. I don't remember how long ago, about probably just after the assassination attempt. And I was commenting last week, about what we talked about, that usually people, this was very unique moment in history. And, looking at psychological side of things, I'm pretty sure that, Trump got home, changed his pants, looked himself in the mirror and said, oh shit, these people tried to blow up my head. And now having Bobby Kennedy with him and Nikki Haley, not Nikki Haley, the Tulsi Gabbard, who also passed by experience in the army, plus the Hawaiian crisis. This looks like a lot of people that said, well, these people are here to kill us. I don't care, but now I have the power and I can do something about it, at least for myself. And I don't know. This looks like a good moment for the United States.
It could be. I mean, there's a lot that the Democrats really screwed up. And all their talk how things they weren't good. At least we get a chance here to stop the bleeding. Now, can we do the repairs that need to be done? Remains to be seen. I said Trump's got to put the right team in place. Selecting Kristi Noem to run Homeland Security, maybe I'm not sure she's the ideal candidate. She's got some problems in her past. More than a year ago, romantically linked to having extramarital affair with Corey Lewandowski, the former campaign chair for Trump. Then, it was 2-3 years ago, her legislature passed a bill opposing transgender athletes competing with women. Keep the males from running in women events. She vetoed that. And I think she ultimately reversed that, but she was like, where are your political instincts? What's wrong with you? To take something that's that fundamental a position, or at least from a Republican standpoint, and screw that up. So, she's got probably one of the most important jobs, even though we like to think State Department is probably the least important of the jobs, because you don't have as much control. Homeland Security, she's in charge of FEMA, in charge of Border Patrol, in charge of Customs, in charge of Secret Service, in charge of Aviation Security. Good Lord, it's a huge, huge, huge portfolio. So it's massive. And she has experience as a governor that maybe she can handle all that. We'll see.
Always look for the best. So, Larry, let's talk about NATO. It's funny things that are. We can join NATO with the good question about how do you see the bureaucrats in Brussels taking the news of Trump plus NATO.
Well, the party's over. Trump's not coming in to build up NATO to see how much money the U.S. can pour into it. And it's up to the Europeans to figure out if they're going to keep that old jalopy going. It really reminds me of a Cuban car. The cars that are like 60 years old and still running on spare parts because they can't import new cars. That's NATO. It's anachronism, outdated.
Yes. I find interesting that what Mark Rutte said, that, well, if Trump gives up Ukraine to Russia, then we will expel United States from NATO. First of all, I was like...
that's like you playing football. The kid who owns the football. And you said, yeah, you're not playing on our team anymore. Okay, kid takes the football and goes home. What are you guys going to do? Take around a paper bag? It's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ruta, you look at him and go, look, you're an adult man. You've been to college. You've been to university.
You've been the prime minister of a country.
Yeah, I mean, you're retarded. You would say something like this. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but then I thought for a second and say, hey, perhaps Trump's trying to get Europe under the bus, throw Europe under the bus. This is a good start, let's get the United States out of NATO. Well, I just want to get out anyway. That would be a good thing. So it's not my fault. And at the same time,
okay, tell me, Europe to the table.
Well, they're not going to bring anything.
What does Europe realistically contribute to NATO? What does it bring to the table militarily? Nothing.
Perhaps some croissant. I don't know.
I mean, Italy say, hey, we got some good pasta. Okay, hey, yeah, bring the pasta, bring the antipasta. Okay, but I mean, NATO is like a nasty little dog, yappy little dog that an ankle bite, but with no teeth, just annoying. It is. Europe became accustomed to being important because of its colonial dominance in the 19th century. And has started losing that control in the 20th century. It's, still hasn't come to grips with the fact you're nothing. Okay, France, Germany, you're nothing. You're irrelevant. You have no resources. So, it's not like you're going to show up and be something that say, some other countries go, oh my God, we can't live without that. How are we going to survive without champagne? I'll figure a way. Camembert cheese. Oh my God, we got to have the camembert cheese. What about the mozzarella? About the mozzarella? So, I mean, Europe's good for food as far as cooking it. They don't grow much of it. They have to import a lot of it. They don't have any natural resources, energy-wise, to speak of to be any kind of influence on any of the oil or gas markets. Mm-hmm. They don't have any industrial capability. Germany used to. It's getting rid of it. It's just deindustrializing, sending stuff to the United States and other countries, shutting down factories. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, Europe is a joke. And yeah, if I'm insulting folks that live in Europe, sorry. Look in the mirror. Yep. You got a lot of old stuff for people to come see. Old castles and buildings and some history. Yeah, rich in history. Poor in terms of anything anybody needs. There was a craze. This reminds me sort of what happened here in the United States. 40 years ago, there was a craze to buy antique furniture. I don't know if it was 80, 100 years old. Oh man, it was hot. People buy antique furniture, and we had a bunch of antiques. So when it came time for us to move to Florida, we're going to sell off our antiques. Kids today aren't buying antiques. They're looking at God, who wants that old shit? It's Europe. Okay? Europe's an antique market that nobody wants to buy.
I say that from a good amount since I arrived here, and I say this out loud, no problem. Europe is just an open air museum. It's not working because it has to keep the museum, and the museum is not working because they cannot keep the museum anymore. Yeah. They just need to get Europeans out.
Or call it an open air sewer. More offensive. Yeah, no, but
I was trying to be.
Well, you behave. You're a foreigner, they'll toss you out.
No, they can't. I'm European.
Oh, okay. This is, Europe's in a conundrum. They've bet on the wrong horse here. Mm-hmm. And the problem was they bet all their money. And now they're losing it, and they've got a loan out to make that bet. And now they got to pay off the loan, and they don't have any way to do it. So the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to get capped. So I hear your daughter is hollering for dinner, huh?
She's eating. She's eating the entire day. It's amazing. She eats for an hour, and then 30 minutes later she eats again. She's growing. Yeah. She's getting big and strong. I like Europe.
Good. Yeah. I like Europe. I like Europe. That's what you
Unlike
mean.
Europe, exactly. No, yeah, that's I've been saying this. It's just people are too worried about crap here, and the Europeans want to get a better life. They want better services. They want decent transport and decent things. But it's I live in Italy. It's impossible to have decent services in very narrow streets, or castles everywhere, and if you try to dig something, very soon you find another part of the country from 2000 years ago, and then you have a law that has to stop everything, and archaeologists have to dig. So it's a mess. They should just start doing moving people away from historical areas. Okay, this is historical. Keep historical. That's what we want. Move away. Let's build new cities with new infrastructure and live there and works there and things like that. But they do neither, nor keep nor evolve.
Right.
Well, people are getting pissed off with that. Yeah. Larry, we had some drone strikes in Moscow yesterday or 2 days ago. Well, one funny thing that I've been seeing is that from this week, I see a lot of change in the media. I don't know if you have noticed that in the United States. In Brazil, yes, a lot of change in the media. So just yesterday, there was a piece from a newspaper called Folha de São Paulo, showing the graveyard of tanks from Ukraine. And I was like, all right, I have a channel for over a year, and I've been talking that since day one. So what's the breaking news here? And, so people are starting to speak out about the Ukrainian failure. They're trying to speak. They're starting to speak out some things very interesting. I think I even sent you a new that they are starting to talk about impeaching Lula, and also Bolsonaro is unelectable, and they are starting to talk. Well, perhaps the Supreme Court of Brazil will not be able to hold unelectability for Bolsonaro since Trump won. So
I was confused by who's talking about impeaching Lula.
So that's the media. That's the media floating out. Newspapers floating out the idea as well. Yeah, it's going to be hard because Lula has been a bad boy, all those things. And the same thing about, bringing Bolsonaro re-electable. Re-electable. It's hard to say this word.
Yeah. Well, the media are starting to change because Ukraine's losing and losing badly. And Russia, I think it's becoming very apparent that there's nothing that the new countries can do to stop Russia, including even if they go to war with Russia, which would be a disaster for NATO. They'd lose and lose badly. That's the West doesn't understand. We've become so accustomed to using our military force against third-rate countries, which don't have any kind of military capability. And then even in those cases, we don't prevail. We didn't prevail in Iraq. We didn't prevail in Afghanistan. And so now they're talking about doing things like attacking Iran. Well, good luck with that. At some point, the United States is going to experience a decisive defeat. We try to attack Iran, and then Iran sinks an aircraft carrier or two. All of a sudden, we're saying, we got to nuke them. But if we nuke them, we're risking nuclear war with China and Russia, and we're not going to do that. You're going to have to get over being angry.
One thing that I sense it dropped a lot, and I think we mentioned this last week, is that the nuclear narrative seems to be vanished off the table. I don't see anyone being, warmongering, nuke them, Lindsey Graham kind of screaming, all those things.
Oh, you mean Russia? You mean nuking Russia?
Nuking anyone. I'm not hearing people talk about nukes anymore in the media.
Oh, they're absolutely
Oh,
talking.
yes,
That's absolutely. The Israelis are talking about doing that to Iran. Oh, absolutely. They're talking about that. Israel Katz just yesterday said that they were, they needed to go destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Well, the only way they're going to do that is with nukes.
Mm-mm.
Even if they can, and even then it's questionable whether they can actually destroy Iranian's nuclear facility. So, we'll see. But there's talk there on that front. And there's still the talk persists about confronting China. We can't defeat them with conventional forces, conventional weapons. We push you back to the nuclear issue.
Yeah, you wrote a piece just yesterday or the day before yesterday about Iran still being on the table. With Trump on the house.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. How do you see this?
Or it appeared today.
Yeah. Do you really think that with new administration they will keep? Well, of course, Russia. Trump has already said that he wants to get the hell out of there, and the people even made. I have to send you this video, a meme with that scene of Home Alone 2, where Macaulay Culkin crossed Trump, but they put Zelensky's face, and it was Trump going, the way out is over there to the left. That was fun. And so Trump.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
I'll send you the video. So Trump wants to get the hell out of Ukraine. And, well, at least from the readings of Alexander Mercuris, the China issue, it's more like a peaceful decoupling than going to war. As he reads the previous Trump administration. But how do you see Iran on that?
No, the United States still believes that they can militarily defeat Iran. That's simple. And they haven't thought that through. I mean, they talk about it. We got to destroy this, got to destroy that. We got to, conduct regime change. That's what makes Mike Waltz. He's very clear about that. Marco Rubio too. The United States cannot militarily defeat Iran. I'll say it right now. If the United States goes to war with Iran, the United States will suffer a defeat. And, because it's a bigger continental force. We don't, we've given advantages in terms of air power, but it's not going to help us. Particularly if Iran starts shooting down a bunch of our aircraft and holds a bunch of our pilots or captured. It's ridiculous. And to threaten Iran with wars to threaten the entire world supply of oil. Now the Persian Gulf. Not a good situation to be in.
Yeah. Well, let's hope some sanity prevails. Well, I guess that was more. Yes.
No, I've given up on sanity. Are you kidding? We're talking. Washington is the world. It's like an insane asylum. All the crazy people in there. Jesus.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I never thought I would live to see this kind of people running the business. I don't think it's compatible at all. Well, that's where business got broken.
See what comes up moving forward. What he's going to do.
Yeah,
he's still got some key selections to make. DNI, CIA. Defense Intelligence Agency, FBI, Department of Justice. Those are critical. Got to see what he does with those.
Yeah, sure. Let's hope. Again, let's hope for the best. Larry, I think that was more or less what I had chose for today. And there was this Ukraine 34 drones to Moscow, but I think this is just, another prank attack or whatever they want to call that, just shooting whatever they have to terrorize people.
Right.
Do you think there is anything important that we failed to look this week?
Well,
this week?
I think the situation in Israel is going from bad to worse. They've installed this Israel Katz as defense minister. He's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Smotrich is talking about taking over the West Bank completely, removing any pretense that that's Palestinian territory, seizing it. So I think the real concern is that there's a drift in policy in the United States now that Trump is supposed to be coming in. Biden's on his way out. Israel may do something absolutely crazy and try to in order to try to draw the United States into a war with Iran that will present Donald Trump with something fiat accompli when he comes to office, that he will be at war with Iran and he'll have to continue it.
Something like
next 60 days are extremely dangerous.
Let's keep the eye on that. Let's keep the eye. I thought, from my point of view, I was thinking on Israel, tempering down. But now you just made all the sense. I saw what Israel Katz wrote yesterday, and I follow him on Twitter. The guy's crazy. It's nuts. It's a nut job.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And there was also this what they are calling a pogrom in Amsterdam. Things are interesting now thinking about it.
Yeah, that was no pogrom. That was, if anything, it was something instigated by the Zionist fans that attended that game. They were out beforehand ripping down flags off of people's homes, singing songs about killing Arabs. And then afterwards, they came out and picked up. They launched attacks against a Muslim taxi cab driver, and then picked up clubs, metal bars, as to attack locals. And the locals fought back. Now, really, Israel. I've come to the conclusion that I think Israel has forfeited its right to exist as a country. It's a terrorist state.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, so I guess we went a good show today, even longer than I was expecting. Larry, thank you very much again, my friend. And remember, everybody, to like, share, and subscribe to the video and channels, of course. And all the links are on the description. Find Larry's work on sonar21.com. There's also, his weekly or bi-weekly participations in other channels in the description. And follow him on BitChute and Rumble, those who have access to that. Not Brazilians, unfortunately. Larry, thank you very much, my friend, and hope to see you next week if these crazy people don't destroy the planet.
We'll have more developments next week, that's for sure. Yeah. Thanks, Marcelo.
See you.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.